Hey guys, it's Maymay and welcome to another video. And today I'm making a card featuring this little card down here on our newest stamp set called Tune Into God. And I'm also mixing with it our set called As For Me in My House. These little houses are going to be perfect for this. Now, I got ahead of myself. I didn't mean to. I just started making it and coloring and realized that I did not even start filming. So this is where I'm at. I have cut out with my free SVG the little card and this little piece here. I fussy cut these by hand. I did not have to worry about that too much. And then I colored them with alcohol markers. So that's where we're at. Also, I want to tell you, if you do hear any noise in the background, it's sample making day. And so I'm not alone in this room. Shannon is here. Brenda is here.
Hey guys.
So they're working behind me and I thought I'd just film as I go so you guys will get this video sooner than later. So we're going to be making a little slider mechanism card without any fancy tools. We're just going to do this by hand. This little piece is 1.5 by 5.5. So you need that piece. This is going to be like the road or the ground that my car is driving on. Then I did this. I took a piece of chipboard and I cut myself a template. This is 1.5 inches. Nope, I take that back. It's 1/2 inch wide. But it is, I got to measure it, 3 3/4 long, okay? And that's going to be my template. So I'm going to use my ruler, and I'm going to come in here and make a mark. I want this to start 3/4 of an inch away from the end. Now, let me say this as I'm doing this. I normally would not do all this measuring and all this kind of stuff, but because I'm doing this where you guys can recreate it, I'm giving you all the measures. Typically, I would just lay this down here, kind of center it, you know, do it like that. But I want you guys to kind of see how this works. All right, so 3/4 an inch from the bottom. I want you to be able to recreate it. That's what I want. And then I want to center this along there, okay? So I'm going to turn this where I can see it good, and I'm going to trace this on, and then we're going to cut it out. Now, the reason I say you don't need any fancy dies, there are dies out there that do this, that cut this out. And to be honest, they're really super cute. They have like rounded edges and stuff like that. But I was thinking, if you had a popsicle stick and you wanted to trace it, you could get the rounded edges. Or if you wanted to punch the edges of this to get them round, you could. But I'm just going with a rectangle. All right, now we need to cut this out. So I'm going to use my metal ruler and I'm going to use my finger blade and slice this guy out. You don't have to be this picky. I'm going to be a little picky because this will show. The whole thing is going to show. Even if you think some of it's going to be hidden, it's not. You'll see what I mean when we get done. So I'm just going to slice this out. Get this lined up good. What I like about this ruler is once I get it lined up, I can press this center down and it will help me hold it in place. And I can just slice down. I want to make sure I don't go too far. Let me go back like this, because I can see better. All right, so just slice this little hole out and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so we got this guy all cut out. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I have this piece that is the same size. It's 1.5 inches by 5.5, and it's going to go behind. We're making like it's kind of like a shaker, but not really. Instead of having a shaker in here, we're going to have a slider in here. But we do need a piece to kind of sandwich. And here's what I want to do. I want to do some stamping. I'm also noticing I did not cut this perfect, and this is going to matter, and I'll show you why. I'm going to line these guys up like this, and then I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to trim that little piece that's showing. Do you see that? Because that will matter in the end. I don't want that white hanging over. I trimmed it with my trimmer, but you can never trim everything exactly perfect. So just take your scissors and clean that up. Now what I want to do is I want to trace this box very lightly with my pencil inside here. I want to stamp a sentiment in here. So I want to be able to see the space I have to work with or where I need to stamp. So I'm just tracing it. Now I don't need to trace all the way down. I really just need this corner because that's where my sentiment's going to live. Now the reason you don't need this end here is because we're going to stamp this end on the slider piece so it shows all the time. And then when we pull this out, we'll reveal our little sentiment. This guy is not quite as long. It's 3/4 of an inch tall. And it is 5 inches long because we're going to put a little bit of a stopper back here for it, okay? So let's do some stamping. Now, I don't want to stamp the whole sentiment. I just want a little bit of it. The one I'm going to use is the one that says, he has given me a new song to sing, but I'm just going to use, he has given me a and new song. I think that'll be cute. So I'm going to use some yellow tape, and I'm going to take this off. Now, you could do this with Post-it note. You could do it with just a piece of paper, cardstock, even some like typing paper. Who says that anymore, right? Copy paper. They're going to laugh at me. Who says typing paper? Oh gosh, nobody says. So you can use typing paper, but we're just going to use a piece of yellow tape. And then we're going to ink this up and peel that tape away. Now, why am I saying peel that tape away? You're like, we know we have to peel the tape away. I cannot tell you how many times I've forgotten to peel the tape away and stamped and got that big blob. So remember to do this. Peel this away because we only want that top section. And now we're going to stamp this in that little trace mark. So I'm going to bring this over here where I can get to it. I can tell that I'm a little crooked, but it's all right. It's all right. Can't be perfect. Don't try to be perfect. Stamp that little guy there. I think that'll be cute. He has given me A. And now what we have to do, I want to stamp New Song on here. But before I do that, I need to clean this guy. And I mean, you have to clean it. If you don't take the time to clean it, you can shadow stamp, and you don't want that because then you got to clean that off. So I just put a little squeaky on there, and I'm going to take my little microfiber cloth, wipe this off, make sure it's good and clean before we get to this next step. Now, to keep myself in line on this one and to know where to stamp it, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to line this guy up just like so to the edge here, not worrying about where I am down here. I'll flip this over and show you what I mean. See how I'm lined up to the edge down here, but this end is going to be a stopper for our pull tab. So what I'm going to do is lay this down like this and do a little pencil mark just so I know where I can stamp. Again, that you'll be glad you did this because you'll mess yourself up if you don't give yourself a little guideline. So that, see, I would have probably stamped down here and that would have been incorrect. So we're going to stamp here and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to tape off, ink up, and use New Song. Okay, now what we want to do is bring some foam over, and I'm going to use Scotty because I'm going to need to kind of design where this foam lays. So for the foam, I want it to go up this side, down here, and back around. I need a stopper here, so I want to put a full piece here and then just strips of it here. So we're going to do that next. Now for your foam here, you don't want to put it close to the center. You want to take it up to the top. The reason for this, when you put your little slider in, you want this to hold it in place, but you don't want it to be in the way, if that makes sense. So let me show you what I mean. You want this piece to live in here and have a place to slide, but you don't want it to be too tight. See that? So I'm going to keep putting this little foam onto the top up here. I may have some hanging off at the top that I might want to trim off, but we'll do that in a second. Okay. So you're going to see that I stamped this on this side, but I did it wrong, and I don't want you to make the mistake. So I'm going to show you how to do it correctly now, okay? So once you've got your foam here, what you'll do is you'll lay this little piece in between your foam where it's going to live, okay? And now we're going to trace. I tried tracing too soon, and you can't really do that. You got to know exactly how much space you're going to have. So now that I have that laying there, I'm going to put my little trace right here so I can stamp New Song in there. I did it incorrectly earlier, and I forgot. I've done this as a test before, and I forgot that I had to do it. So let me stamp New Song. Okay, so now on the two pieces you've got, it's time to erase our pencil mark. So now what I want to do is I want to reveal the sticky here. So I'm going to peel off this little backer, and we're going to line this up directly onto our little white piece that we've stamped. And I want he has given me back here. So you want to be careful to line this up directly. You know what I'm saying? So hold this where you can get to it. Make sure you're getting it lined up nice and easy or even. And it's a little hard here where you get a little wiggly. Like this gets a little wiggly down here. So just take your time. Maybe even use your work surface to help you. Try to get that straight. Just like that. Okay, so now we have this piece. This little guy is now going to slide in here like so. Just like that. And what's going to happen is it's going to stop on our foam at the end, but we need something to keep it from pulling out here. But I don't want to do that yet. I just wanted to show you where we're at. Here's what I want to do next. I want to take this little guy out, and on this end, I want to do a little half punch to give the recipient a place to pull that from. So I'm going to use my 1-inch circle punch, and I'm going to stick this in here like so. It's pretty easy to line up on your punch. I'm doing this like this so I'm punching through both at the same time, because I didn't want to have to try to line these up. This way, look, it's exactly the same no matter what. And we're actually going to use this to our advantage on our card as well. So this is going to be the background I'm building this on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and line this up on this background, just like so. And I'm going to trace where my punch is so that when I come back to this later, I'll be able to punch this out in the same spot. Because for my card, what I want is I want that to go all the way through so it's easy to pull. Okay, I also need another stamp set.
Breaking in here to ask you to hit that red subscribe button. It's free. Also hit the bell button beside it. You can help me reach my big goal this year of 400,000 subscribers. Okay, back to crafting.
Okay, so now that we've got our little punches, our thumb holes punched, we want to put this guy in, and we're going to see how much we need of him. See how he's kind of hanging out the edge? I don't need anywhere near all that, so I think what I'm going to do is just take my scissors and cut straight up. Because I've left plenty of space for the recipient to grab that, so I'm just going to put my scissors onto the green and let that be my stopper. And see how it's going to stop? That's what we want. Now I want to stamp on here the word pull. And I'm going to make myself just a tiny pencil mark so I'll know how far up I can go. So there is where we're going to do it. And we're going to use the stamp set called Action. And this one has a lot of words, but especially the word pull. That's the one we're going to use. So let's get some ink. Ink that little guy up. I'm going to stamp pull right here. And that way the recipient will know to pull this little guy out to see the rest of our little sentiment. All right, now this guy can go in here. We've almost got our mechanism built. So we're going to put this guy back in here. And what we need now is something to stop it from coming out, right? And that's where our little car comes into play. Look how cute this little guy is. Okay, so we need to add our little car to this guy so that this little tab won't pull out. I'm going to erase my pencil mark that I made for myself because I don't want to forget, because once it's in there, I won't be able to get to it easy. And now we need some foam squares. Okay, so I have these little foam squares, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to close this little guy down, and I'm going to put a couple of foam squares right back here. This is what's going to allow our little car to live on here, and also it's going to keep this from pulling out. Now, I'm just going to put a couple on there. I don't think I need more than that. Let me see where this is going to lay. Now, I want to show you the way I've done this. My car's a little bit big, so I'm going to have it kind of going up like this, like kind of like a wheelie, or like it's going uphill, which is fine because we're going to have a hill in the background. So I might add one more little foam square because I've got room for it. Okay, now I'm going to reveal the sticky of our little foam squares. Now, before you put this guy on, you want to make sure that you've got this pressed in, okay? I'm going to hold that still on that side, and I'm going to put this little guy here. Now, I'm doing him like this. Like I said, he's kind of going to be going uphill. And I want him not to hang off here too far because this is 5.5 inches. This is the width of my card, okay? So now let's bring this little background piece over. Let's go ahead and punch where we made this mark. So now I want to go ahead and get my card base ready. My card's going to open like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to match that little spot up here so you can also pull it with it closed. So just going to do this. Now, you don't have to do this. They don't have to pull this when it's closed. I just want this to be all the way through so it's very obvious about our little pull tab. So I'm going to punch all the way through both sides of the card base as well. So now I know when I put this guy on, my little piece is going to be exposed there, which is what I want. And now I can build the front of the card here. So first things first, this little guy lives right down here. I say first things first. Let me show you what my plan is here. I want to do a little hillside behind here. And I have another piece of this green that I'm going to cut into a hillside. So let's do that really quick. I actually want it to be just an arc is all I'm looking for. And I don't want it to be too tall. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball this as a hillside. And if I don't like it, I can edit it because it's my hillside. So it's the Maymay hillside. And it's going to live right back here behind. See how it makes it look like he's driving uphill? That's kind of cute, isn't it? And I want to put little houses behind it. So what I want to do before I place this down is I want to see where my tallest house will live. This is my tallest one, and it will go here. And I want to make sure it's got room. So I think I need to move my hill down a little bit more. Just doing a little check in here. That looks good. I don't mind if some of the house is tucked behind. I think that's kind of cute the way it is if it doesn't show the whole bottom. So now what I'll do, you guessed it, trace again. I'm going to put a little pencil mark here so I know where to glue my hillside. All right. I may glue my houses down first. I may glue them to the front. That would be cute. Let's fussy cut these bottoms off. Okay, so I fussy cut the bottoms of those. I'm going to go ahead and glue my hillside down. Just line that up where we had it. Line up the sides from side to side. And I'm going to need to punch this as well to match. You can see how that's kind of showing. It's hanging over on that edge. I'm going to need to do that. I'm just going to take my punch and clean that up. And now we can put our little mechanism on. Let's go ahead and glue this down. I wasn't going to, I was going to wait and put this on later, but I think I'm going to put it down now so when I'm decorating the top, I can get a full sense of what it's going to look like all decorated. This gets put flush to the bottom corner and everything should line up the way we've done it. I'm going to stand it up and make sure it's pushed all the way to the bottom. Even check that. There we go. Look how cute that is. So then when the recipient gets it, see, they'll pull it out. He has given me a new song. Isn't that cute? I like it. You could have switched these. You could have done, he has given me a new song here. For some reason in my brain, I didn't do that. If I made this again, I probably would switch them. But for now, that's how we're going to do it. And now let's put our little houses on. Okay, so I glued my little houses with the curve of the heel. I thought that was cute. And see how these two are hanging off? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to flip this over and we're just going to trim. And I know this makes you nervous sometimes, but I promise when you do this, if you've ever taken a picture, everything that you see is not in the picture. It kind of goes off the edge, and it's the same here. So just turn this over and make the little snip, and when you turn it back over, it'll look like it was supposed to be that way. See? Perfect. All right, so now I want to glue this onto the front of my card. And I think I'm going to put some of the sentiments from the stamp set on the inside. One or two, we'll see which ones I use. But I think this is cute. All right, again, in hindsight, I would switch the sentiments. I think they would be cuter if they were switched. So I would do that. I think it would, I don't know, I think it's cute this way too. But I think it'd be really cute if you started with the first part of the scripture showing. All right, so we got this guy down. Now, what I want to do, just because I'm extra, I want to round this corner and this corner. I don't know why, I just feel like it needs to be softened. I'm going to start with 1/4 inch and see if I like that round. I think I do like the 1/4 inch. Let's do that. It just feels a little heavy at the top. So I'm just going to do that. Look, it's kind of cute. It's kind of cute. I like it. All right, let's do the inside. All right, so on the inside of the card, I'm going to do several little stamps. I'm going to do the one that says tune into God. I think this will be cute. I'm going to do it kind of on an angle. Get that good and inked up. Now, you might want to do this before you put the card together. I know I'm always doing this, but I'm okay with stamping like this. If you're not, do this beforehand so if you mess it up, you don't mess up the whole card. Or you can stamp this on a separate piece of paper and then add it in. But I'm just going to go like this and add all these little musical notes because I think they're super cute. I love that some of our notes are bigger than others. We wanted this to not be like this perfect musical note. We wanted to have them all little different sizes, a little more cartoony than we normally do, and I really like how that turned out. And there you go. That is the inside of the card. And when we close this over, we have our little pull tab and we can drive our little car across. I think that's super, super cute. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you like the ideas of not having to have fancy dies or anything to make this happen. You do have to do a little bit of work. You know, there's some tracing and some figuring out you have to do, but it works out really cute in the end. And here's the deal. You know, I want to see what you guys do. Using this mechanism as your goal, right? This is the thing you're going to use. Show me how you would decorate the top, do something different. There's so many different ideas, and this little stamp set can do so much. I think you'll love it. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up button. That subscribe button gets me closer and closer to my goal every time you guys subscribe. We want to reach 400,000 by the end of the year. It's a big goal. We got a long way to go, so help me get there. And until next time, bye now.